Hey y'all, I think we're live. I'm joined here with my friend Boegie, and we're just gonna have
Hello.
a cool conversation about open source, what he does, how he got started in coding, because I think it's cool to chat with people. And I know I haven't streamed in a while, so I'm gonna be back to regular streaming. And in the comments, let me know if you, because I used to do the live coding Friday streams. So if you want me to bring that back, let me know. But typically, I want to stream on Saturdays, 11 a.m. CST. But today I have Boegie on, a good friend of mine, because I wanted to talk
Hello.
about open source, and I wanted to talk about, just how he got started in programming, and how can you use open source to help you become a better developer and all this other good jazz. So Boegie, great to have you here. Thank you for joining me. I know, what time is it there for you right now? Because I know it's fairly, it's like
Almost
the
dinner
evening time.
time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
5 o'clock here.
wow, yeah. So yeah, thank you for jumping in, and we'll be mindful of your time for sure. So tell us about how you got started in coding first, and then we'll talk about the open source and why you like to do open source projects.
I actually started making Minecraft plugins. This is how I started
Nice.
programming. I wanted to make a Minecraft plugin. So I was basically just watching video after video after video about my Minecraft plugins. And so I started combining some of the videos to create some stuff. I can remember one time I did something with a database, so SQL. And I was stuck for 3 days on a question mark. I put the question mark somewhere, I should have put a question mark. And because Java is so hard to debug, I was stuck on this for 3 days.
Wow. And so, like, what was your first computer language that you learned? And
Java!
Java. Okay, so you
Because
literally
Minecraft.
started. You're like, okay.
Yes!
So it's funny thing, because like that's why I didn't do any plugins for Minecraft, because I used to play Minecraft all the time, but I really did not have desire to learn Java. I know it's embarrassing to say, but it's pretty cool. So after doing that, like, what was your second programming language that you chose, and why?
I think that was Lua, because I was working on Roblox games.
Okay, nice.
But,
So you,
but I don't think anybody to do anymore, because like this space is so hard at this point.
yeah,
You don't
to like,
know much to even start making something good.
yeah. No, it's crazy. So you started with Java, you changed to Lua, and how did you get into like doing web development stuff?
I did some WordPress and data stuff before. And I started with ChatGPT because I work basically for a non-profit. I
Okay.
said, you know what? We're going to start using Strappy because we want to get away from WordPress.
Yeah.
So
That's a
alright, I
good
looked
reason.
into it.
Yeah.
I went into it, I fell in love with Strappy. That's basically what happened.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And what I really like, because we talk about open source projects, and something that I wish I would have done when I was on my learning journey of like learning to code is I should have been involved in open source projects earlier. It took me a while to get there, because I feel like it's a great way to be part of the community. It's a great way to work on real life projects, and I feel like it's a good way to also build experience. So in terms of like getting started in open
Um,
source, like, what got you excited about like participating?
the issue is has open source. You have two kinds of open source projects.
Yeah.
The ones like Strappy and other ones who cannot handhold you at all. They are very hard to get into and they are very hard to start with. And so you have the knowledge with the knowledge, but like very, very hard to start with.
Yeah.
They have some things like Rust, for example, and Rust has like people from the community, basically mentors, running around.
Yep.
This is all open source, and then basically everybody there just in their free time.
Yeah.
So you have people who specialize there in basically helping people to start understanding stuff and start learning stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Go ahead.
basically so that is basically the one is like the second one is if you are in there, it's very nice, it's very easy. But getting into it is just very hard because you need to already have the knowledge. You need to be able to on your own 2 feet without much help.
Yeah. So that is a good point you're making. So it doesn't matter, like there's a lot of different open source projects, and I think that's part of the reason why I didn't get involved, is because I was too intimidated. And like you said, there are certain things, there's not that much hand holding, and so you kind of have to explore the things yourself and start and try out. And what I like about Strappy is that we do have that amazing Discord channel. You're always on there, you're always chatting with people, you're always helping out, and it's a good way for people to kind of start slow and work their like kind of experience up. And also from the standpoint with, at least with Strappy, I'm not sure about other like open source projects. Another cool way that people could kind of start slow is as you're learning Strappy, let's say, and you're using the documentation. And if something is not as clear in the documentation, you could make a pull request to have that documentation updated to make more sense. So you could kind of give back that way. We also have, I think, like first good issue flag that you could try to find stuff. But one thing that you recommended to me, which I really like, for instance, if you're too intimidated about starting with open source, what you said to me, start slow. And there's a lot of bugs that a lot of times people submit. And what you could do as your first step is literally try to replicate the issue and see if you could confirm the bug that it exists. And that's, I feel like, a good starting point for someone who, you know, starting out. What do you think?
A good starting point is certainly reproducing bugs, because companies or open source maintainers have much time for that.
Yeah.
They don't spend their time fixing bugs. So if it's not reproducible at all, then they don't care.
Yeah.
And they cannot fix it because they don't know how to fix it, because it only happens once.
Yeah.
So like for them, if somebody else maintains say, hey, yes, this is actually an issue, makes their life a lot easier.
Yeah.
So you help the maintainers, and you also learn in the process, because if you get a bug, they can also start looking into why the bug is happening. And if you do that a little bit, you start understanding more of how the process works, how the product works you're using and you're helping develop.
Yeah, that is a really good point, Boegie. So a lot of people that maintain open source, they want to spend their time on fixing things. And sometimes, you know, like, so if you think like, oh, me reproducing an issue, that's not going to help that much. It's going to help a lot because you're literally confirming the bugs and you're helping the maintainers not spend time on doing things that they much rather be like fixing things. And like you said, it forces you to look at the code. It forces you to kind of try things out and test things out. And so as you're reproducing the bugs, you're actually little by little learning more about the code base. I think that's pretty awesome.
And you also have to remember, they get some, like Strappy, for example, gets lots of issues a week.
Yeah.
Like in the 20, 30 issues a week at the minimum. Most times it's 50 plus. And if you get so many issues, to replicate them all just takes 15 minutes at least per issue.
Yeah.
So it takes you hours and hours of your team. So how more other people start helping with that, basically, how more this actually is an issue.
Yeah.
So how more you can predict the actual issues and how less you have to worry about the non-issues.
Yeah,
so more
no,
exactly. Done.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the tip that you gave me, like just starting simply by reproducing bugs, is really huge. And there's literally like no barrier to entry outside of just trying your best. Like, because it's like, if you reproduce it, great. If you don't, it's fine too, you know, and it teaches you to kind of get involved in something where you're providing value without having to feel like too intimidated because, you know, you're not, you know, making commits like in terms of like fixing things yet, and that will come over time. And as a developer, like there's a lot of people that they'll build their own little projects, right? Like, you know, I build my little blog website versus someone who focuses on getting involved in open source and contributing. Why do you think getting involved in open source is more valuable in terms of building experience than, let's say, building personal projects by yourself?
Both are important, because without one you cannot do the other.
Yeah.
But contributing to open source is for companies much more important, because it shows you know your shit about that specific part, that specific thing. But if you make your own website, oh nice, you made it with Strappy.
Yeah.
Like, they care, if you make a website, they don't care about the backend. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
They only care that it looks good and that it works. When you contribute to Strappy, then you show, I'm actually helping to something else. Actually have the knowledge. I actually learned this.
Yeah. Like
basically,
I was gonna say, like, you've built a bunch of plugins and you have one of your plugins on our market store. And what I was gonna say from the perspective of people who are starting out, like, what do you think looks better on a resume? Let's say, oh, here's a website I built that nobody uses, that I have on my personal private GitHub, that is not even deployed, versus, hey, Boegie created this plugin. It is used by this many users. It is hosted on the Strappy marketplace. I think that's the type of real-time like real life experience that kind of makes you stand out. And another thing I was going to say,
It
like,
also depends on what the company wants, on what you are
yeah,
applying for. If
yeah,
you're applying for a product position that you just work for Strapi, they don't care about that. Then you have making your own website is much more important
yeah,
because they care that you can design nicely. Basically, you make
yeah,
nice functional websites that just work properly.
yeah,
Well, if you go for a back-end position, definitely contribute to Strapi would be interesting and would help.
yeah. But even like you could contribute to the front end as well if that's like your thing. I think like for you, you're more like a back end engineer, and so for you, you find it more enjoyable, doing that. But I've seen you work, on the NextJS website the other day, so
Yeah.
so you do like full stack basically. But like what I think it's just like much better on your like resume or your experience if you're contributing to actual companies where people are basically acknowledging your value. Like for instance, the fact that your plugin is on their marketplace is because it's a very valuable thing you built that solves a problem. So that to people like looking to get hired, it's like, oh, that makes sense. You know what I mean? This person is not just coding for the sake of coding, but they're coding for the sake of like solving a problem and sharing things with the community.
Correct. And then you also looking, for example, with Strapi community organization, you also have that.
Yeah.
And that also shows to other companies, I actually do some stuff here.
Yeah.
If you are like a community organization, it shows them that you care.
Yeah.
There's also a plus point they'll give you if they look into you more.
Yeah. And it seems that like if someone's involved in a community long enough and they build like a, good experience, they're helping people out, they understand the code base, it's not uncommon for people to get hired like out of the community. Like Derek is like a really good example. One of now he works at Strapi, but he was a longtime community member forever, and provided so much help and value that Strapi team was like, you know what, we need this guy work for us. And so that's another. It's not guaranteed, obviously, but it's another way, to get and build relationships that could lead to opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is true, and also you also need to remember about that kind of stuff is from the point of view of Strapi. You get a blind application, or you get somebody you already know and work with.
Yeah.
Like you always will go with the person you know before the person you don't know.
Yeah.
That's just how it works in companies.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Like I've been also like really enjoying.
I would really go for if I was the owner of a company, right? I really go for the medium person I know I have on him. Then I go for the best person, but I don't know if he will even show up for work.
Yeah, and that's such a good point, because like the more you get involved with like projects, open source communities, and people start to know you, there's that trust factor that like, okay, we know what to expect, and they're much likely to give you opportunities than to, let's say, like somebody that they don't know. And like one good example, like I really like Remix. I've been involved in our local meetup. I've been going and building projects with it, talking about it, and that the Remix community, they're kind of like see me and they're like, oh, he really likes it. We like what he does. And I had the opportunity to go and do our next Remix conference and give a speech. And I think it's not because I was just some random person. It's that like I was involved and am still involved in the community, trying to like give back and at the same time learn myself and share my experience. And I think people want to see that people care and want to actually do the things with the tech that they're using.
And what you also need to remember, if you go on a conference or something like that, that gives you also lots of credit points for companies.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you know your stuff.
Yeah.
So like if companies see you have had multiple talks and multiple different meetups are important for their field,
yeah,
they for sure will choose you over anybody else, but didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so why like so you started like helping out in the community, you started building stuff for Strapi. Why like outside, like you're always finding bugs and always like making like, hey, this bug needs to be fixed, this bug needs to be fixed. But besides that, like what, like Strapi, a lot, like similar like how WordPress has a plugin ecosystem, like Strapi has their own plugin ecosystem, and so it gives developers opportunity to create cool solutions that Strapi might not have out of the box. So what got you excited about doing Strapi plugin development?
Simply for me was I need to fix an issue. And an issue myself from that I need to ensure that some stuff couldn't be populated at all.
Yeah.
Because of security issues.
Yeah.
And you said, all right, then fix it this way. And that's basically how I did it and how I made the plugin. Because of my own need, I made the plugin.
Yeah, you're like, I needed this. I needed this solution.
Yeah.
Let me make it. Let me build it.
Yeah.
I get, and I think that's the cool part about being a developer. It's like if there's something doesn't exist, all right, I'm just gonna build it myself. You know, it's pretty cool.
And what you also need to realize, basically, is the different kind of communities.
Yeah.
The different skills of communities. For example, the WordPress community is so big, getting a name in there for yourself is very, very hard.
Yeah.
And the Strapi community is a lot smaller, so a lot easier in that way. But it's also in the other way, it's a lot easier and a lot better because there's more communication.
Yeah.
That's what I miss by all the other CMSs, basically.
Yeah.
In Strapi, they have open office hours, where Strapi employees will always be there.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Monday to Friday.
And it just makes communication so much easier.
Yeah.
Well, else you're just talking about a brick wall and hope somebody responds to you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Definitely. That's the cool part about being part of the community is because you can engage with the community and you can have a conversation around things and learn things by asking questions. Yeah. And to me, I feel like nowadays, like especially for people starting out, I feel like there's so many different paths to learn to code. And a lot of people always ask like, do I need to go and get a computer science degree? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And I feel like there's many paths. And I think like getting involved in the community and open source projects is a really good way to kind of learn and build experience in a real life situation. But from your standpoint, from education, do you think like computer science degree is required, or do you think like
I have a computer science degree actually, but my issue mostly was everything I learned at school was almost nothing. I only learned networking stuff at school.
Yeah.
Everything else I learned at school I already knew or was just not interesting for me.
Yeah.
So that's for me a very weird one because that was my issue. I knew everything already.
Yeah.
And if you know too much already in school, it's just not that interesting.
Yeah. In terms of like the computer science stuff, like how much of it do you use like on your day-to-day basis, or pretty much like everything that you do now is self-taught based on your own learning?
You need to remember what it helped with a lot, to my opinion, is basically what they do at school. Basically, you go over the basics again because most people cannot program when they start at school.
Yeah.
They start their course. They don't know anything, so you learn the basics again. Now that is a very important thing to relearn.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So let me ask you another question, because a lot of people also talk about this a lot in terms of data structures and algorithms. From your standpoint, how much do you need to know in order to be productive as a developer, especially if you're starting out? And then when moving forward, is that something people should spend a lot of time on, or just like, what are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people like, do you, okay, let me rephrase the question. Should you learn to code and be able to build something first, or should you start learning data structures and algorithms first?
Data structures and algorithms are not as important. They are important for optimizations, yes, but for anything else, no.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I tell people, like, you will be able to like learn all that stuff organically as like you go on your journey of learning to code. For instance, I remember doing something at my job and I was working with arrays and I was like, man, this is too slow. This is just not convenient, because we had like thousands and thousands of items where we knew what like the key would be. And so for me, like to look up and find stuff in an array was just like, this will take forever. And I was like, oh, what other things can you do? How can you optimize? Oh, well, you could use like a map, like build a map and use like, just look things up by the key. That way, if you know the key, you're going to get it instantly. You don't have to iterate or find stuff. And so, you know, like for me, it's like you will learn it as it comes. But the most important skill as a developer, you should be able to build things for customers. I think that's the key.
That's the key. And where most programmers have issues with is communication.
Yeah.
That's where everything goes wrong. In every single project I've ever done, what everybody ever does, always communication.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, it's cool basically. You basically have two different things. You have what the client wants,
Yep.
what you think the client wants, what the client thinks the client wants, and you have to give the client. They're like four different things.
Yeah.
And like they never are perfect. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I think like there's a lot, like for me, when I got hired, my second job, I literally had my boss come to me. He's like, I didn't hire you because you're the best developer. I was like, oh, this is kind of like not something. I thought I was going to get fired. And he's like, I hired you because you work well with others, you're able to learn things quickly, and you're really good at communicating with other team members. And so to me, I realized it's a combination of a lot of moving parts, not just like what you're technically able to do, but also having like certain soft skills that allow you to work together as a team. And I think what's important is, especially like when you're working with other people, you're going to find people that everybody's different and everybody has like, you know, their things. And I think being able to work together in a diverse team in a way that's productive is like super important.
That is important. You also remember everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And all you need to know of each other. If he knows everything about this,
Yep.
then the job should go in the direction you should give to him.
Yeah.
And his weaknesses you should get and keep away from him. Or give him a little bit of it so that he can learn more and is less of weakness.
Yeah. No, and that's a good point. Like the company, like the second company that I worked for, we hired a junior developer who was like literally smarter than I was in every way. And he was like really good, like at writing tests, which I, at that time, like really sucked at and couldn't know what to do. And part of my ego, I was just like, oh, screw this dude. Like, why is he so smart? But the other part of me was like, you know what? He's better than I am in certain things. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to be like, hey, can you do this part of the code because you have more experience in this particular thing? But after you're done, can you meet with me one-on-one and can you just go over what you did and explain to me and teach me how I can do this as well? And I think it's having this mentality where you're not like judging people or trying to have a competition, but you're working on a team, and you know, the things that somebody else on your team is better, like they could teach you how to improve. And if you're, you know, better at some other things, you could help them to learn. And I think it's like very important to work as a team and not have these ego or judgmental like thoughts where you're like, oh, this guy's smarter than me, like I don't like him, it's like whatever, or the opposite.
I think everybody has the thoughts, but it is how you interact with people is the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you're in a large workplace, you'll never like everybody you work with.
Yeah.
You always have one or two people you have pure passion, but still you have to be able to work with them. And you have to be cordial with them and just get your work done.
Yeah.
That's the job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. You can't choose sometimes like the people you work with, and you just have to be able to work together anyway. One thing that like when I first started to learn to code, like the internet is so judgmental. I was like in my like mid 30s because I got my first job at 39. Like I'm fairly old now, you know, for all those youngins out there. But I went on Stack Overflow and somebody was like, I was like, and at the time I was like in my early 30s, and I was like, is it too late for me to learn to code? And somebody literally said, yes, it's too late. Go fucking jump off a bridge and end your life. That's literally what somebody said to me on Stack Overflow. And to me, like, I realized like internet is obviously full of like bunch of piece of shit people. And I realized that you can't, like, if you listen to negative people, they will always like stop you from achieving your goals and your dreams. And so what I decided is like, it doesn't matter what comments I get, doesn't matter what people say, I'm going to continue to do my thing. And I'm going to always like focus on the positive because you know, there's always going to be negative people. And I feel like I would have never succeeded if I listen to all the negative people on the internet, like everybody has their opinion. And I think what's important is to be like, hey, listen, the people that I'm dealing with, I don't know like what they have going on in their life. I don't know the difficulties they're going. So instead of being upset, instead of being mad, like try to have a point of understanding where you're like, oh, I get it, you know, and how can we work together to reach a better goal? And so to me, like I always want to hear other, you know, people's opinions. I want to see where they're coming from. And I want to understand that everybody's different and everybody learns in different ways. And this is why I love our community, because when I'm like on Discord and we're doing open office hours, I am definitely not the smartest developer and I don't pretend to be. And I think like having like, and showing that honesty and sharing and being open to listen to others, you know, regardless where they're coming from, like it is really like a growing and learning experience. You know what I mean? And so for me, like I never ever like I, you know, try to judge people based on like a quick, you know, like, oh, like whatever, and try to find like opportunities to learn. And I remember like when I met you on Discord, like you were so helpful. And I feel like my coding experience got and level and understanding of like deeper Strappy code got better just because I'm constantly talking to you. You're constantly sharing what you're doing. And to me, it's like, I was like, wow, like I'm so lucky. Like I met Boegie because he's super awesome. He's super helpful. And through our communication, I literally became a better developer, which for me, it's like pretty cool and pretty awesome.
But I think that multiple people have that. The thing is, the people who know more need to try and explain to the other people what they're doing and how it works. Because the trick basically is, right, you have the level of expertise. As long as you can explain something easily enough that somebody else can understand and learn from it, means you have a master level of it.
Yeah.
Because you can only explain something perfectly if you understand it perfectly.
Exactly.
That's the hard thing. You need to have a certain level for you to be able to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, like, for me, like, I love being part of like Discord, other communities. And this is why I think other people should join communities, is because you get to meet other people. And the more people you meet, the smarter you're going to be, because what you're doing is, if you're sitting at home, let's say, and you're trying to figure out questions by yourself and answers by yourself, you're literally just using your own one brain. But if you're part of the community, there's other people have done the things that you're trying to do. So you could literally learn way faster. And so for me, like, I'm always like, hey, let's talk about coding. Hey, tell me what you're working on. Oh, how did you do this? Because I want to literally like learn from other people as quickly as I can. And people like, when I tell this to people, I literally look at it like as a, like I'm stealing knowledge from people. You're not stealing, you're like obviously working together, but I kind of look at it like, man, the more people I could talk to, the more information I could learn. And to me, like that's been like super awesome about our community and, you know, having fun.
Mm-hmm. And I think the same thing, right? It's awesome to be able to do that. It's awesome to do it in that way. But you also need to remember at that point is from a community changed over time.
Yeah.
That's the part where you also need to think about. Is community still the same community? Because over time the community changes, of course.
Yeah.
And you always keep learning when new people coming in, people going out.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works in a community.
Yeah.
I just think from the constant door of people going in and coming out, you learn a lot. Because everybody brings something else to the table. On the part of the puzzle, basically, on the part of what you're programming.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say, like, I see some people in the community, all they want to do is come in and they just want to answer, but they don't take the time to kind of answer other people's questions. And I think like, if you want to have a good community, you want to encourage the type of place where people coming in are also people that are providing value as well. And if, let's say, they don't feel comfortable in knowing enough to provide the value because they're starting out, I think your community should have things that help them grow to become better at whatever it is that they're learning, to be able to help. And this is one of the things I like. Derek and I, mostly Derek, because he's way smarter than I am, started doing like the Strappy best practices for like learning intermediate and advanced like development concepts. I think that's important because we have and giving opportunity for new people coming in to learn more about what it is that we do. So not only like they might have came for a question, but after getting involved in the community, they're like realize, oh, I actually know this answer that somebody asked. Let me go and help them out. And I think like, and this is why I really like what you do, because like I know like everybody's different, but what I like is no matter who, when they come to our community and they have a question, you help them out. You help them and you help them solve the problem. Like you don't care. Like you're just like, listen, yeah, like I'll help you. And I think like that's how communities are, made and keep growing, is where you have different types of people, regardless who they are, they're all giving back. And, and this is like the type of people we want to see. And, if you ever on Discord that's Strappy, like you'll see Boegie all the time answering questions, which is awesome.
The only thing I think that still is an issue, right, with Strappy and questions is searchability of issues. Yeah. That's just an issue I see with multiple projects, other projects as well.
Yeah, I think it's everywhere. Like if there's massive questions and how do you organize it? Yeah. Yeah. But I think we're doing really good. I think we have a really good community even with all the challenges that we have. Yeah. So
but every community has challenges. It's just part of the community.
Yeah. No. So when I was growing up, it's like so funny because my like I used to do like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and always like fighting, and like I learned that whenever you argue with people and whenever you try to prove them wrong or have an opinion which is like negative, like you never get far. And it's always when you're working with other people together, regardless where they're coming from, towards like a goal, that's when you accomplish things. And this is like the thing that I like about our community is that we have people from different countries, different backgrounds, different like reasons, and they come in and they work together to like achieve like a goal, to solve a problem. And to me that's beautiful, because like I don't think negativity would lead people anywhere good.
I agree on that one. Like as soon as your community gets negative, that's the point. You see, for example, the same thing you see with what's called again, Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
You have a part of the community that is just toxic.
Yeah, 100%.
And that makes the rest of the community much harder to be in.
Yeah.
There's so much more toxicity.
Yeah. And like I said, like that message on GitHub Overflow, when I first started learning to code, someone said, you just jump off a bridge and kill yourself because you're too old. And I was still in my like early 30s. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And what's interesting is like the reason why I brought up the jiu-jitsu example, and I used to be in MMA, I used to fight all the time. And so I used to get so mad at people that leave negative comments or say things. And I'm like, listen, if I see you in person, like I could beat the crap out of you. But that's obviously not a productive way of thinking. And I realized is that the reason I would like say negative things or be like, oh, we should just do a boxing match, see who wins, is because I was insecure about like my own like confidence in being a developer, like having the skill to do things. And I realized instead of focusing on the negative, instead of trying to prove other people right or wrong, instead of complaining, what I'm going to focus on is let me just be really positive. And no matter who I talk to, no matter how like I like where they come from, is let me learn one thing from what they have to say. Let me listen. Let me pay attention. And you know what? Like that has been helping me a lot. And like from a lot of people that, I talk to, like I feel like I'm way smarter for that because like I'm always learning from people, and it's really awesome. Like I said, like you're always in the community helping out. And one of Arturo, another good friend of us, he's asking, who's this guest today? This is Boegie. He is part of our Strappy community, and he has contributed a lot to like our open source project. and he's always helping answering questions. So I just wanted to invite him to have a chat. And then Delican Israel, sorry if I mispronounced. Hey, Paul, is there a Discord or Slack community for this channel? There is no Discord community. No, Discord, I hate Discord. The only Discord I like is Strappy, Discord/Strappy. That's the only Discord community I like. And Midjourney, to be honest, because I like some of the art they create. But if you want to...
and that is funny then.
Yeah, and so I do have a private community, which sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm not. I'm too busy. I'm trying to be better. But you could send me an email at codingafter30@gmail.com. And the prerequisite to get into that community, you have to at least have a GitHub with some commits. Otherwise, yeah, very inactive for a while. Arturo's calling me out about my community. Yes, because I'm busy working and trying not to get fired. You know the deal. You gotta keep up your skills, learning stuff. But I'm gonna engage in it more. I know I keep saying it, but I did take some time off streaming, and so this is kind of like getting back into streaming. I'm gonna start back on my normal Saturday schedule moving forward. So it's life. It happens. I get depressed. ChatGPT 3 is going to take all the jobs. So, I don't do anything. Like, what do you think? Is ChatGPT going to take all the jobs soon? Like 3 years, 5 years?
It's going to change how all the jobs work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And a lot of jobs will be lost in the process.
Yeah.
But you still need humans, because ChatGPT basically is, you give it input, give it what you want.
Yeah.
And you have the things you want.
Yeah.
So if you answer the question correctly, it will give you the correct answer. So you always need a human to ask a question first.
Exactly. And you have to be able to ask good questions, and you have to kind of understand what the hell you're talking about in order to know that the answer you got makes sense. You get fired equals pay raise. I don't know. Like, I agree with you. I know what you're saying, Arturo. I know what you're saying. I think the economy we're in is, I'd much rather not get fired or laid off, but I know it's not uncommon and it happens. So you better be prepared. And if you didn't see my video talking about what you should do to prepare for layoffs, is number one, save money. So when you don't have a job, you could pay your bills. And then number two, like, I hate interviewing, but you got to keep that interview skill up. And so that's what you got to do. And life, yeah, Jose, exactly. Life happens. That's the way I see it. Exactly. Life does happen. I'm 42 and life's been happening with me for like a long time. Divorce, now being single again after my fiance and I broke up, and then all this other stuff. And so, exactly. So people always tell me, why are you always optimistic? I'm like, because there's no other way. You can't be negative and move through life, because life already has challenges. So you gotta
you can be negative and go through life, but if you do that, then you will end up in a mental hospital for the most part.
Exactly. And so to me, I'm like, just be positive. Who cares? Like, when I was younger, a lot of people don't believe me. Like I'll tell you a funny story. So people look at me now, and regardless how you feel about me, most people, and I'm not saying it to like kind of like make myself feel good, people be like, Paul is a nice guy. Paul is a really nice guy. What people don't know, there was a period in my life where I was not nice. I was that dude that people would be like, he's an asshole. Like, I don't want to do anything with him, because I was younger. I didn't understand how the world worked. I was mean. I was angry for a lot of different things. I always wanted to solve things with punching and kicking. That's why I became really good at fighting. But eventually, I got smart and realized that if you only solve things through negativity, if you only focus through not trying to see the other's point of view, where they're coming from, if you're not trying to understand other people and understand their views, you don't even have to agree with it. Like, you're going to be held back in life. And I realized the best way to go through life is treat everybody with respect, understand that everybody's coming from a different place, understand that everybody has different issues, and just be positive. Nobody wants to hear anything negative about themselves. And so to me, that's the approach I take. And it's been really nice to me. Like, every job I had, every person I talk to, they're like, oh, you're so positive. It's so nice to like always hang out with you. And I think that's something that like everybody likes. And that's the approach I take. And Artur says, I'm 43 already. Man, you're 1 year older than I am. Is that true, Artur? Is that true, or are you just trolling me right now?
I am going AFK for a moment. I'm going to eat dinner.
No worries. We'll have to have you on again. I'll see you later. Let me switch the screen here. Yeah, so it's good times. Yeah, I think it's not time to switch jobs around to keep up with the inflation, which is mad. Yeah, it's crazy. Holy crap. Yeah, dude, if you have kids, the expenses that come with that are crazy. This is where my inability to make decisions when I was younger, because I had my daughter at 19. My daughter now is 23 years old. And so I don't have any young kids now, and I'm glad that I went through all that process when I was younger myself, because having the responsibilities, having kids, like a lot of people, take their youth for granted, because once you're married, once you have a family, once you have kids, now you have to support your family. Now you have to provide for your family. You can't make rash decisions because you're like, man, if I lose my job, I can't pay for my kids' daycare. I can't do that. It is pretty stressful. Yeah. And happy belated birthday. I'm not sure if I said happy birthday to you before, because you know me. By the way, seriously, if you're 43 and dude, you look good. I could look at your picture, the skin, good color. It's Arturo, nice, looking young. I went back to exercising because I'm like, man, I'm too old not to exercise anymore. Got to get back into shape and get my youth back. So, yeah. Not everybody is as smart. Listen, I'm like the dumbest person in this. This is like the running joke amongst my friends, is that I'm like the lowest common denominator is me. It's like everybody that I hang out with is smarter than I am in some sort of way. But I'm like, hey, this is the way you grow as a person. Yeah, no, definitely need to find some decent lady. I really had a wonderful fiance. It just didn't work out. We were together for like almost 5 years. Old picture, by the way, like last week, right? And so I kind of took some time off. Heartbreak is a tough thing to get over with. And not about 10 years old. Okay, makes sense, because you got that baby skin glow going. It's really good. So I am not in the dating market yet, but one day I'll come back. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'll just stay home and code all day. Like what's wrong with that? And I have too many projects. I don't need to get additional responsibilities at the moment. I got 2 cats. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Let's see here at the comments. We'll do like a little Q&A. Do you have materials for back-enders in your close community? To be honest, like, what do you mean? Like, just focus strictly on back-end? The company I work for, Strappy, it's CMS. Basically, you have a nice back-end from which you could manage all your content types, all that stuff. But the reason why I say we're at school is because all of our code, like, okay, so because I know you to be a front-end dude. Yeah, that's fine. So like I started as a front-end and then I'm transitioning to back-end. But I was going to say about Strappy, why it's a cool tool to use is because it is a great way to transition from front-end and start piece by piece, start to think about backend. So Strappy, for instance, works out of the box completely. But the coolest part, everything like you would do if you were building your own API, like, hey, I need to make controllers, I need to make routes, I need to make services, I need to use middleware, I need to implement policies, I need to implement auth. All that stuff can be customized in Strappy where you're writing backend code. And so it's like a good way to start to think about backend, learn about backend without having to build a backend yourself from scratch. And Strappy is kind of cool because it's built on Koa. Koa is a backend framework that was made by the same team that made Express. And it's pretty awesome because it avoids callback help because it uses async await. That's pretty awesome. And, so there's a lot of backend. So if you like backend, you should try Strappy and customize the hell out of it. And yep, I'm going to agree with Arturo. If you want to go learn more about backend, go to PHP Discord groups. I know a lot of people give hate to PHP and stuff like this, but I think it's still like a good language. I personally don't want to have a job with PHP and work with PHP. Sorry, Arturo. And he says Strappy is a niche, PHP is the king, and backend along with C# and followed by Python. C# is a good language. For me, like literally JavaScript and Node.js. Like I don't want to switch languages. One thing I'm going to say, oh, God damn it. You're not allowed to say, like I let you stay here with all your PHP talk, Arturo, but talking about Java, what are you doing? No, Arturo, no, you're not allowed. Stop it, Arturo. But because I was going to say some nice things about PHP, now I'm not going to say anything nice. That's it. I was going to say something nice about PHP and, you mentioned Java and now I don't know. But to be honest, like if you wanted to learn how to work like with SQL databases and how to create a backend application, like PHP, it's not a bad way to go, especially if you want to learn all the important concepts and how to talk to your database and how to build things. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good like learning tool. Would I program in PHP? I gave that up. I stopped using WordPress. I stopped learning PHP. That was like the thing. But at the same time, the thing I'm going to say is that doesn't matter if you learn C#, doesn't matter if you learn PHP, doesn't matter if you learn Node.js, there's going to be jobs. And like, yeah, exactly. Look at jobs. There's Java jobs, there's PHP jobs, there's Node.js jobs, there's Python jobs. I think it's like the reason why I do like Node and JavaScript is I just like it, right? And that's why I do it. So if you like PHP, if you like Java more, if you like C# more, go ahead and do it. And so for me, like I have a different language that I use for different purposes. So for all of my web development, I focus on JavaScript, Node, React. That's it. That's all I do. That's my web development approach. But I also like doing some VR stuff. I like building some games once in a while or like VR experiences. So for that, I use C# and Unity. Like, yeah, I know I could use C# for web development, and I've done it in the past, but that's not like what I like doing with C#. And so C# I use just for Unity to make a little VR games that suck. But for my web development, I'm going JavaScript, everything. And I recently started getting into Stable Diffusion and learning a little bit about like how to train models. And so for that, I'm like, oh, you need to know Python. So that's what I use Python for. Am I going to use Python for web development? No. But am I going to use Python for some of this like AI stuff that I like to do for fun? Yes. And so I have every different language for fun. And literally right now, like I always have like learning plans and the things that I do. Yes, and yes, you could use, thanks for bringing that up. I had to scroll up. Yes, Jose, and thank you, Arturo, for shouting that out, because otherwise I'll keep talking forever. You could definitely deploy Strappy on AWS for sure. We also have Strappy Cloud now. You could deploy it on the Google Cloud. There's so many different ways you could deploy it pretty much anywhere, which is really cool. But what I was going to say in terms of exploring languages, one thing that I wanted to do, and I might do it next month, because I have like mini goals for like what I think I should do in terms of my own personal like coding development. But I wanted to go back and learn, and like I've done C a long time ago. I took one like intro to C course before taking C++ course when before I dropped out of school. And I really want to go back and do like a lower level language. And I think C would be a great way to kind of learn more about how computers work. And so I'm planning to revisit C again. Am I ever going to use C for work? No, but I think it's important to step out of your comfort zones and try new things, even if it's like Arturo says, Java and PHP. Like, I don't think I'll ever do Java. Like, I mean, like, why use Java if Kotlin exists? You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. You know, people should know. I like to troll. But yeah, you know, like it was good to get back on stream. I know we had one dislike, and I think it's people just overreacting with their panties in a bunch, not appreciating the guests that I invite. I understand that. You know, I can't help the internet sometimes. But all in all, you know, we're doing good. I'm going to be back to streaming regularly. And Saturdays, what I'm going to do is go kaboom. Yes. I like it. I'm still going to do it. Oh, Cobalt. I thought like Seamless, like me coding in C, I'm going to cause an explosion. Probably true. Cobalt. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to go that crazy. But I do want to do C. And then at some point, I want to try Rust. I don't want to go to Rust directly though. You know, but I think like if you like programming, having this discussion like, oh, I only do JavaScript or I only do PHP, like it's almost irrelevant. It's like use the whatever you like. Yeah, it seems Arturo is a jack of all languages. I think he just enjoys programming and development. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be back to my regular streaming. And I think Saturday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it where it's going to be like a fun stream. I'm going to talk about getting hired. I'm going to talk about kind of what I'm learning. It's going to be basically like I'm still thinking about it, but it's going to be like a fun stream where I interact with everybody, you know, probably going to be about just cool stuff that I'm doing, learning how to get hired, what's happening with like ChatGPT. Is it going to make all jobs disappear? Just have something cool, which has a lot of value, but fun. Really focus on the fun of it. You know what I mean? And then I'm thinking of bringing back my coding live streams. I know they weren't as popular, but the few legit, you know, community members here would always come and have a chat with me and watch me write bad code. So I think I might do it because I do want to explore different things. And I've recently been like, I really love Remix. And so I've been building a lot of my projects on Remix, but I know a lot of people like Next.js too. And a lot of people like it because it's like the popular kid on the block. And also like Next.js 13, like their beta features are pretty awesome. And so I think I'm going to do a stream on building a Next.js project. And I know I was building my community SaaS thing. I had to put that on a big burner because that project was too big for what I have time on. So I think I'm going to kind of scope things a little bit smaller, where someone who is jumping in like from like video to video, they don't need to watch like past 5 videos to understand what the hell I'm doing in the 6th one. So I think that's what's going to be good. And yeah, almost every single language is tempting. And that's what kept me down from actually getting my first job, is because instead of focusing on one language, I tried to learn 5 different languages at once. So I basically knew like nothing about a lot of things. And so if you're starting out, definitely start with one single language. And then once you know one language well, learning new languages becomes way easier. I don't even know like what deluge is. See? I wonder like what you mean by touch of PHP. You know, I think you're like a PHP wizard. That's what I think. You know, when I talk to Arturo, I'm like, Arturo is a PHP wizard. Yeah, so anyway, I think it was like a good stream to get back. I always love chatting to everybody. So if anybody wants to jump in and chat on stream, you could always hit me up at codingafter30@gmail.com. Yeah, and the 100% true, like anybody could start a business. I still argue that having a business is way harder than getting a job. And speaking of like getting jobs, like I know a lot of people like afraid of what's going to happen with AI. How's this going to change the landscape of development? And I have my thoughts about it. I'm still thinking about them. But I will definitely make videos and streams about to share how people could prepare moving forward. And one thing that I'm going to say to kind of give you like a broad overview where I think where this like idea is coming from. I read this book called The Average is Over, where it was written like so long ago that the fact that this guy predicted where we are today is amazing. But basically what he said is that moving forward, and this was like, he wrote this book like 10 years ago, people that are going to continue to stay employed are people that have their domain knowledge, and then they also know how to leverage the AI and work together with AI to be more productive. And so I think what's going to happen, there's going to be less jobs, 3 to 5 years, maybe sooner, who knows, but the jobs that still be there will be people that have domain knowledge in what they are, learning and being able to use AI tools to be as effective and productive as possible. And I think what's going to happen, you still need to be technically literate, but I think with AI tools, you'll be able to produce things much faster. And if you get to a point where, let's say, majority of your applications going to, let's say, which is probably far, far from now, written by AI, I think you as a developer, you're still going to be a developer, but the things that you do from day to day are going to shift. And I'll talk more about it. I'm still thinking about, hey, Mateus, great to see you. What's up, Saleh? Yeah, and so I'm going to get back in streaming. I know like today I was just like, let me just jump in, not my best performing stream, but who cares? I don't care. I just like chatting with everybody, like hang out with you. You know how I do it here. But I'm going to get back to streaming every Saturday like I did. It's going to be like a fun, entertaining stream. I realized that we want to be educational and entertaining at the same time. So we're going to do that. And then I was thinking of bringing back live coding streams. I know they're not as popular, but I think it's cool to kind of like, I could just do things that, maybe talk about what I learned or exploring new things, doing that. No, you're not. I mean, I was going to say you're not late. I am going to end the stream soon, but I was going to say, no matter when you jump on, it's always good to see you. Never have to apologize, and yeah. And let's see, what any other announcements? Not really announcements, just good to see everybody here. And also, like, if you have ideas for like the content that you want to see, that you'll be like, man, like if there was a video about this, I would watch it. Or if they talk about this on the stream, I would watch it, because I want to figure out like what you all want to see or what will be useful for you, rather than just me trying to guess and assume. But definitely feel like moving forward, we need to have more engagement, more entertainment value, at least on the Saturday stream, back to how I used to do it with like my retro theme, the music that nobody likes, being loud, talking about cool things. And then, so I think like having one like fun, exciting stream about how to get hired, where's the industry moving, like news of the day, like the check-in, Saturday mornings. And I think one technical stream would be nice, but we'll see. Definitely Saturday stream is a go. So next Saturday, be back at 11 a.m. CST time. And I have a lot of thoughts of how the development industry is going to evolve because of ChatGPT 3. Oh my God. I don't know enough Nox, Mateus. I'm so sorry. I could talk a lot about Next 13 though, because I've been, for work, I had to build the NextJS starter template to use with Strappy, which is coming along great, using all the amazing features of 13. So I could talk about that. Next, like, I don't know enough. Next 13 at this point. But Next, I don't know what version of Next we are. I would be interested in business solutions with chatbots and getting info quickly. I think that's another cool thing to approach. What's awesome, I think everybody should now be like, so you have the OpenAI API. There's also a bunch of like AI models that are open source that are available. I think everybody should be building projects that leverage AI. And so I was thinking of doing some stuff like that as well. Yeah, I think next is Vue We had George on give us an introduction on Vue. I just don't have the bandwidth to learn like another framework. And I know people love Vue. They get excited about Vue. I'm not excited about Vue because I'm just too busy being excited about React, Remix, and NextJS, and a bunch of other stuff that I want to do. But I think like, so here's the thing I was React sucks, so go Knox. That should be a t-shirt. I'm gonna make another t-shirt. Yo, just in reverse. But no, nothing to people. For me to say something sucks, I would never say that, because the point is that something is, if you are able to use it and be productive, it's good, right? And so it's not that maybe there is a crappy framework, but a lot of these popular frameworks, they're all good. They're all could be productive. You could, figure out. Sally says, I think the best way to make videos just is up to you, bro. Just have a look at what you want to learn. Make a tutorial live so it's good for you and all us to see it. Yeah, no, 100%. That's a good idea. I'll do it. Yeah, Travesty does like really epic videos on like that 1 year heavy video of what you need to learn to be I forgot what he calls them. Yeah, definitely check it out. Really good video. But here's the thing I was going to say about moving forward for developers and AI. Like, don't stop becoming a developer. I think the focus of development is going to shift. So I think there's going to be this idea of a developer who has the expert domain knowledge. They also are able to use all the AI tools. And now as a developer, you're not going to be spending a lot of time of how to implement something in terms of like, well, how do you write a for loop to loop through this like array to make something happen and appear like that. That's like busy work. AI is going to generate that for you. So you're going to be thinking about how to have a cool product idea and solve business problems. So I think that's what's going to happen. So instead of like being a code monkey, and it's a terrible expression, but this idea, it's like, I know how to code. I know how to take an idea, put it into code. What's going to happen is like now you have this solving problems on a larger level, and the code implementation, majority of it is going to be done with AI, and you're going to be like the editor, be like, oh, this is fine, this is not fine, and you're going to basically direct AI to be able to produce products. I think that's the shift that's going to take place, and this is something that people should have and keep in mind. And this is something that I think about a lot, because I feel like, AI is going to open up the door for a lot of people to be able to build cool things, even if they're not as technically inclined. I think you still don't need to be technically inclined to make the best thing ever. So that's going to probably, lower the barrier to entry, or maybe it'll be the opposite. Maybe there'll be no junior level jobs. I don't know. I haven't thought about it this far yet. But yeah, 100%. Figure out how to build stuff using AI, just like Lego blocks, for sure. Yeah, exactly. I don't take anything personally. That's the one thing you should all know on this channel. The two things, like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. One thing I will take personally and get really upset about and disappointed at the same time, if someone makes a negative comment about the guests that I have. That I can't stand. Like, God damn it, have some common sense and don't say anything. Didn't your mother teach you, like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it? I don't care if people talk shit about me, but whenever I have guests on and someone says something negative, even if you don't think it's negative, like I don't blame people. I always give people benefit of the doubt. But whenever I have guests on and someone says negative, I have the urge to like smack people. Paul, do you use Vim? No, I'm not that cool. I don't do it. No, I don't even use Vim to begin with. But it does look cool, people that use Vim expertly. Like that guy, I forgot the dude with the mustache that looks like, Dr. Disrespect, but in coding, Promageddon, I forgot his YouTube. That dude uses Vim like an expert, which is kind of cool. But I was going to come back to this point, like, I don't like when people say negative things about guests that I have or people in the community, like in chat that talk, because you don't know where people are coming from. I'm going to rant a little bit. You don't know what people are going through in their life and their family. And to pass judgment so quickly without taking consideration that that's a human being on the other side and they also have feelings, like that pisses me off. And so if I would, like the one thing that would get me angry if someone says something negative about anybody that's either in the comments or anybody that I have as a guest on a stream, because that's messed up. That's messed up. Can you do a stream about Scrum, Agile, etc.? Yeah, Primogen, my hero. If you're not subscribed to his channel, go subscribe to his channel. Amazing person. I really love how entertaining, and he does really entertaining streams. And I figured I need to be more entertaining than him. That's what I got to do, because part of it, yeah, you want to learn something cool, but you also want to be entertained. Yeah, like Scrum, Agile. I don't like. I gotta. Yeah, I'll have to do some research about it. I'm not really interested. Maybe like having what it's like working where people use Scrum or Agile methodology as a developer, but in terms of like talking about, you know, from the standpoint of being like the Scrum master and what does it take, like I definitely don't know enough about it. StarCraft, yes, one of the greatest games ever made. Second to Factorio. Factorio is another greatest game. If you hate your life, not that, no, let me rephrase that. Not that if you hate your life, but if you want to spend 72 hours and like realize you started playing a game on Friday night and it's like Monday morning and you have to be at work in 10 minutes and then you end up playing Factorio anyway, that's Factorio for you. Factorio is the most amazing game. And if you're a developer, it's all about like over optimizing everything. Like if you've never played Factorio, Jesus Christ, greatest game ever. Diablo is good, but it's no Factorio. Factorio, man, let me share my screen. I'm not going to show the game. I'm just going to show the Steam page for Factorio because I don't want to even open it on my computer right now, because what's going to happen is I'm just going to start playing Factorio and forget that I'm talking to people. Is this sharing the correct screen? Yeah. So this game, don't let the graphics fool you. Let me like switch it to screen here. Oh my God, this game, like I would probably stream Factorio. Best game ever, D3CS. Look, Factorio, if you've never played Factorio, go play it. Like oh God. Oh, this game is just, if you want to like not be productive in life, this is the game you have to play. And I think like, if you've never played Factorio, just try it once. It's like heroin. You try Factorio once and you can't stop it. I literally had to go to like Alcoholic Anonymous just so I could like stop playing this game. By the way, this game looks cool. Like when you first start this game, you literally have a shovel. You don't have none of this stuff. You have a goddamn shovel and you're trying to figure out like what to do. So this is the game to play. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. If apparently Primogen, I can't pronounce the name, thinks Vim is like StarCraft, I think he's just crazy. But you all got to play Factorio. You know what? I might do streams talking about code and playing Factorio. That way I could kill two birds with one stone. But good Lord, this game is amazing. Just look at it. Oh my God, that train just ran through all those aliens that were attacking it. Look, they got drones. By the way, all the things you see now on screen, you literally start with a goddamn shovel and nothing else. This game is amazing. I know a lot of developers that play this game. Funny fun fact. This is something I have a friend that works at Shopify. At Shopify, the CEO lets you expense this game. That means the company will pay for it because the CEO of the company of Shopify thinks this game will make you a better developer. I don't know about that because the way it sucks your time is ridiculous, but check out
Factorio. It's $35. A lot of times it goes on sale, but you could try a free demo. This game is insane and it runs on Windows and Mac. Most amazing, greatest game ever. So what else? Age of Empires, another classic for sure. Yeah, and so anyway, so we chatted about everything. We talked about good stuff. I think I need to get another coffee. I did get a dislike on the stream, but I think the person that disliked it just had their panties in the bunch, and so they couldn't handle the stream. But not that it matters. It's not like, by the way, while we have few people here, I started doing a podcast with my friends around tech. I know we don't have that many people on here, which is fine. No big deal. My self-worth is not, I just love chatting with the few cool folks that come out. But there's the Not Null podcast. You could find it on Spotify. You could also, so if you want to hear my wonderful voice for some reason, I started doing this podcast, the Not Null podcast, always talking nonsense. I wonder if I could play the soundbite from it so you could feel like what kind of stuff we talk about. Let me see. Can I do system audio? Oh, my system audio doesn't work? What? I got to fix my computer, or maybe my audio's not on. Let me see.
Yeah, and once you put that...
Oh, that works. Listen to the brilliant things I say on the Not Null podcast. This is me talking about why I would want to have AI for an answering machine and how it's going to lead to the end of the world. There's other people, of course, but they just decided to clip this because it was probably one of the dumbest things I said. And the more dumb things I say, the more people clip them.
I mean, I would love to have an answering machine which is able to have a conversation with somebody who calls me, and I don't really care to hear what they want to say. And that person won't be offended because they feel like they're talking to me and like I care about what they have to say. It'll be Paul AI, just having a good time with them.
So when your mom calls, you want the Paul AI to answer.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have an AI version of ourselves that goes and does all the stuff that we don't want to do.
And then, and once you put that inside a robot, that robot will just basically work to replace you, and then humans will be obsolete, and it's the end of the world. Like, right? So, I mean,
that's it. And that's basically, I say some stupid stuff on that show sometimes, but it is what it is. But anyway, it's not just me. It's really fun. We talk about tech news, a lot of good stuff. Like we talked about crypto mining, meta, AR, a bunch of other stuff. Like it's really fun. It's just a bunch of people hanging out, having fun, talking about tech. So check it out. Really good podcast. Obviously, I will say everything is really good. That's just how I am. But thank you all for joining in this Saturday. I'm going to be back to my normal show starting Saturday. I'm going to make a commitment to make these Saturday streams more entertaining and exciting by just because, it's good to learn things, but it's also cool to have fun while doing it. So thank you all for coming by on this amazing Saturday. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you all later. Have a good day, good night, and love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Man, it's been so while since I streamed. I don't even know how to exit the stream anymore. Like, where's the goddamn button to... Jesus. Okay, I found it. Bye, everyone.